Well, at some point in time during the booking process, we're going to need to collect that information so that we can give it to the government.
If they're a customer, but they haven't made a decision even whether they're interested in your airline.
Exactly. So we have placed the request for the information at the point in the booking path just before seat selection, because some of our
Let me just ask you: will you commit to stop collecting this information,
Senator,
as Delta apparently does not do?
Senator, I'm required by law to collect the information.
You're saying Delta is breaking the law?
You'd have to ask Mr. Carter that question.
Well, no, I don't have to ask him that question because he's not collecting that information.
Okay,
well, Mr. Carter, are you breaking the law by not requiring this information?
Senator, of course not.
Mr. Nocella, will you commit to stop collecting this information?
Just like my colleague on the far side, I do think the information is required to complete the booking process.
You say you're required by law to collect it.
I'm not saying it's required to complete the booking process.
You know, the danger here is that you're collecting this information without a need for it, obviously for some other purpose, and we all know what that other purpose is. So you can market to them or monetize that information in some other way. Information and data are the coin of the realm in our modern marketing and technology society. And collecting this information is potentially profoundly dangerous if there's no real need for it. Let me just, for the record.
Senator, if I could, I didn't
Mr.
get
Johnson.
a chance to answer your question. We collect the information, and we have thought about collecting it, designing our booking process in a way that where it's most convenient time for the customer to put the information in. And as you said, there are circumstances when the customers don't buy at all and don't want to put the booking information. Ours, we collect the booking information at the point we do because it determines the cost of the seat if the passenger chooses to select a preferred seat. And some of our best customers are entitled to discounts, and the only way we can apply those discounts is to know who they are. That's the only that's the only thing we use the information for with respect to booking.
But you don't need it at that point before someone has made a decision even to inquire about seat price.
Senator, if we didn't get it at that point, we wouldn't be able to offer the discounts to some of our customers that they're entitled to with respect to seat purchases.
Well, apparently Delta is able to do it without this information. And the information may be required by law at some point, but not then. And that's the point of the questioning. Let me just point out for the record on the family seating rule. During the comment period, you were represented by the industry association, Airlines for America, which essentially was, I would say, equivocal. It called the rule a possible, quote, Trojan horse. Spirit, I understand, opposed the rule. United said that the family seating rule was, quote, needless overreach. So I would suggest respectfully that you are being dragged, kicking, if not screaming, into compliance with this basic standard, and I hope this rule will be implemented and issued, as I've mentioned, as quickly as possible. Mr. Klein, I think you've raised the elephant in the room, and Senator Marshall was asking about it to some extent, which is the lack of competition or the barriers to entry and to competition that exists right now. And I'm just going to give you an opportunity to talk a little bit more about the problems that Spirit has faced in the access to hubs and other kinds of obstacles that you've encountered in trying to compete more fully against some of the legacy airlines.
Certainly, Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I appreciate the question and the ability to talk on this topic. So for a very long time, we've been dealing with the lack of access to certain airports, or when we do get some access, it is limited, and frequently we will be given gates, but they're maybe on far ends of the airport, which make it very difficult for us to provide a good guest experience, makes it very difficult for us to be able to operate efficiently and effectively. It raises our costs, which then, of course, makes it harder for us to be profitable. And without being profitable, we certainly can't grow. As it's very public right now, some of the dealings that we have by filing for a Chapter 11 reorganization right now, and we're in this process today. One of the things that occurred as we came out of COVID was there is sort of a manufactured pilot shortage of sorts, where some of our legacy carrier competitors basically paid their most senior pilots to retire early. That in fact caused a pilot shortage in the industry, and then they turned around and went after and hired all of our pilots, a lot of our pilots, I should say. And these are pilots that are professionals, and they do a great job, and they do a phenomenal job every day. But when they're being offered a lot more money to go work for somebody else, then they go move to that. And it's not that they're offered a lot more money straight away. It's that they get poached, so to speak, with these statements that are very public today about some CEOs have said how they're gunning for us. They're trying to put us out of business. They just can't wait for that to happen. Look, it's a competitive industry, and we all know that. We joined this industry because it's competitive, and we're competitive by nature.